friend Jim here with JB's Big Adventure, coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. And as you can tell, I've got Lake Chapala right behind me. And yes, today's video is all about 16 reasons why you might not want to live in Ajijic, Mexico. We start out with the older homes. You know, Ajijic's been around for a long, long time. So the homes and the infrastructure isn't necessarily everywhere throughout Ajijic. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the pitfalls and things that are actually here, if in fact, if you're in Ajijic. But the older homes, so those are one of the things that's really important to know about as you're here. Because of that, what you find is you're going to find that there's going to be lower internet speeds. Now, I do want to say that this is all information that's been given to me by folks that come out and go along on my relocation service, my exploratory tour. And so these are not only that have been seen by others and experienced, but they're also those that I've just come across as I've been here for 3 years. You know, I've got a couple here right now, in fact, that they've actually rented an Airbnb. And it turns out that when it comes to running water is an issue there. So one of the things about the internet speed is you can always upgrade. The challenge is if you don't have the ability, you don't have fiber optic, if you don't have, there's another company called Total Play that you can also get higher in internet speeds. But as long as you've got that, you're going to be able to have as fast as you can get as much as 1,000 gigs of speed. One of the things that's important to know about too, and that is the reliability of the utilities here. You don't always have that, again, because it is an older town. It has been around for a long time, and the infrastructure isn't always there. So what about them? Well, power outages. I mean, we just had an incredible rain last night, and it just so happens that we do have power outages, and there's a lot of places that end up going dark. They lose their power, and I've had folks tell me that they've actually lost their power for 2 days that actually live in Ajijic. So if that's something that's concerning to you, whether you're looking at buying or whether you're looking at renting, that might be something you want to take into account. Also, water issues. Just recently, there have been a number of areas in Ajijic that's actually had water outages. And there's another YouTuber here at Lake Chapala that actually was shown actually taking but 5-gallon buckets, taking the water out of their pool in their community to be able to flush the toilets and those kind of things. So, and they're actually in a community that's actually upper Ajijic. So one of the things that you want to know about, if in fact, if you're coming here to rent or if you're coming here as an Airbnb, is to make sure what's the water like. And another thing is going to be the water pressure, because not everywhere that you're staying at is actually going to have good water pressure, because the tinacos that actually hold the water, the tank on top of the roof, a lot of times is just gravity fed with no pump. So that's also another thing it's important to know about. And mentioning the plumbing. So what happens is, because of the fact it is an older community, an older pueblo, the pipes are a lot more constricted because they're smaller, so they get plugged up. So that's why there's a lot of places here at Lake Chapala that you'll find that they'll tell you not to flush the toilet paper down the toilet. So what you'll find out is you'll find either a box, you'll find actually a trash can or a pail of some sort that they'll ask you to go ahead and put the toilet paper from the toilet into it. So in fact, you've got the ability of, you know, it's something that's important to know. I know it freaks out a lot of people, and to me, it's not something I'm accustomed to either, but it's really something to know about. It's I would say a really important thing to know about. That's just one of those kind of things. So it's important to really know exactly what's taking place here. And that's the reason I'm sharing this with you, because as you know, I'm very transparent and very honest. I don't make money on my videos. And so what I do is I want to make sure I'm sharing with you honest and valuable information. One of the things too, and that is because a lot of people do want to move to Ajijic for a lot of different reasons. I want you to know that that's also where the higher prices are at, whether you're looking at buying or whether you're looking at renting. So depending on what you're looking for, I mean, you might find a place for rent, let's say in Ajijic or Upper Ajijic, that actually might end up costing 2,000 US dollars to rent for a month. That same size of house, the same number of bedrooms that you would then find in one of the other areas, whether it could be going out towards San Juan Cosala or whether it might be towards Chapala, that you could probably get maybe even 1,000, 1,100, something like that. So it's really important to know where you're going. And that, in fact, is one of the things that I do on my relocation service. And that is really point those things out. And I also do the pros and the cons of the different neighborhoods, because that's also an important thing to know. Which neighborhoods have the better water pressure? Which neighborhoods can you go that you're going to be able to feel a lot safer at night? Which neighborhoods can you go to and expect reliable utilities? So again, your money goes farther when in fact you go east or west out of Ajijic. Another challenge, there's a lot of folks that come down, and remember that when you're coming, you're retired and you're coming down to Lake Chapala, one of the things that folks are doing, and they're in their older years, you know, you're finding people are 60, 65, 70 and above, and the cobblestone isn't always easy to be walking on. So that's another thing that's really important to know about if you're looking to come in here, whether it is to rent an Airbnb or whether it is to rent a home, that in fact, in Ajijic, pretty much all of Ajijic is all cobblestone. And we came down here with what we thought was a brand new car, and it's been so beat up and doors dinged into, you know, whether it's at one of the parking spots throughout the North Shore here, or, you know, we one time had our rearview mirror on the outside actually hit. So there's different things that happen, in fact, driving here, and especially being on the off the carretera and you're in Ajijic, because it really gives you a jolt. And so just as important that if you're looking at walking in Ajijic and you're on the cobblestone, just be careful. Make sure you're watching where you're walking. I've seen plenty of people fall, and some have gotten hurt pretty well. And so that's an important thing to take into account also. The noise factor. Now, I don't know why this is something that I know that expats say is a concern. I mean, the noise for the most part are going to be the cohetes, which is the fireworks. You've got celebrations, you've got louder music, you've got the roosters, you've got barking dogs. But it isn't like it's 24 hours a day. So it really isn't all that bad. And I really have a difficult time realizing how many people complain about things here. And I would say, remember, we're in their country, we're guests here. We need to embrace the culture and be a part of the culture and love the Mexican people. They're warm and very loving, and we need to love them right back. And we need to learn their language, as a matter of fact. So that's just something to share about with the noise. And it really isn't all that bad unless you're looking for things to be negative about. So some talk about the congestion. Well, I always have to say to that, being from Southern California, there are highways that go through Southern California that are actually 6 lanes. So it's 6 lanes that might be going west and 6 lanes that might be going east. And when you're stopped and you're in the middle of that, that's called congestion. Here, all you might need to do is maybe just leave a little bit earlier if you're actually going somewhere, just making sure that you've got a good enough time to get where you're wanting to go. And here's one that I really don't understand, and that is the number of people that have no interest in learning Spanish. Remember, we need to embrace the culture. We need to make sure that we're a part. You know, we can't expect them to know our language. We need to make sure with our own feelings about where we're at and we are guests is be able to learn their language. One of the things that I see here is I see people being entitled. And you know what? That's the worst thing you can do when you come here. I mean, you're leaving the States, you're leaving Canada to come down here. There's no reason for you to expect everything to be here as it is up in the States. You've come here for a reason, or you're coming here for a reason. Just know that there's no reason to bring things up and talk about things that really, if you look in the mirror, that's the person that needs to really be the one that looks and introspects themselves to make sure that we, in fact, are loving the Mexican people. We're here as guests, so they, in fact, can be loved right back. Status. You know, it's interesting when I take people out on my tour, when I ask people why, in fact, are they looking at moving to Ajijic, the conversation always comes down to one of the things is status. They don't want to learn Spanish, and they want to be around a lot of other expats, but they don't want to embrace the culture. And so what status is just saying that you're better than. You're part of a whole different community than other people. I mean, those that come from the Mexicans that come from Guadalajara, I've seen them actually looking down at the Mexican people. And you know what? We can't do that. And I want to encourage you, if you're one of those, please make sure that you're courteous and kind and really caring and embrace the culture here. There are those that feel like they've got to be a part of the in crowd. Now, the in crowd has a lot to do also with status, but I've heard these words from folks that are actually here visiting: pompous, entitled, snobby, nasty. And I mean, I've even had that happen to me. I know that I've been at the Lake Chapala Society several times, and the stuff I hear, it's really sad. We just got to be careful. We got to remember. I mean, I realize that people here, when they move here, they're just like they were in the States. But we got to be more conscious about that, because the fact, again, embracing the culture, loving the people here, and wanting to be a part of that. Narrow streets in Ajijic. The narrowness of the sidewalks are not like they are in Chapala. Chapala sidewalks are larger. In Ajijic, they're a lot narrower. The streets are a lot narrower. And what you'll find that there'll be cars parked all the way down on one side of the street. And you still have to be careful as you're driving down that you don't hit anybody. So they are narrower. So if you're looking at coming with a wheelchair, for example, that might not be the place to go, because of the fact you're not really going to have a whole lot of wheelchair access until you get like to the Ajijic Malecon or something like that, or even come to Chapala and you're on the Malecon here in Chapala. So narrow streets, as I mentioned, narrow sidewalks. That's something to really take into account. Another thing about Ajijic, what happens, and that is that when it rains here, because of the mountains that are behind Ajijic, there's also a waterfall. It comes down and rushes right down through the town. And there's times where the highway has actually been blocked off, the carretera, right down in town, and they got to bring bulldozers out to actually move the dirt and the such that's out there. So those are one of the things that you want to think about when you're here. If you're not here during the rainy season, that's not a problem. But if you are, that's something you want to take into account. I've actually had, talking about snubbing and such, I've actually had people tell me that they don't want more people here. When they know what I'm doing and I help facilitate people that want to move to Mexico, I've been across some pretty nasty people, and they're expats. And I just think that's sad, because that person that is being nasty, that's not being kind and friendly, came for their reasons. The same reason that other people come for their reasons. So just because you live here and you don't want more people to be moving here, doesn't mean you have to voice that to anybody. And I think it's really important that we care for those people that were around, that are wanting to, just like you, to come to Lake Chapala and live in a nice place. Well, the only thing I can really close and say to you is this, that maybe Ajijic is not for you. And if it's not, there's plenty of other places right here along the North Shore. So if you want to know about some of those, all you got to do is drop an email to me. You can send it to JBsBigAdventure521@gmail.com. I will get those. Give me about 24 to 48 hours for me to get back with you. Make sure also that you leave a phone number so I have a way of contacting you back if you'd like some more information. Well, that's the 16 reasons why not to move to Ajijic. I'm not saying don't move to Lake Chapala, but just that might be a place that you not want to choose to live at. Well, Well, friend, I hope this has been valuable for you. I hope you really got some great content. And I will tell you, if you did find value, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's a great community. It's fast, free, and easy to do. All you got to do is go to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a little square box. Tap it, and you're subscribed. Go ahead and give us one of those thumbs up. That lets other people know it's a great video to watch about moving and retiring to Lake Chapala. Stop by, say hi, ask a question, leave a comment, or even an idea for a video that you'd like to see. And make sure you hit the bell, because that way you'll be immediately notified when our next video comes out, and you don't want to miss our next video. So for that, as always, thank you so much for being a part of this channel and supporting this community. Have an awesome day. We'll see you on the next video.